majorly from the side of ABI Finance, we do know that there are process flows of implementing climate resilience in the operations of financial institutions. These are well over known, and they lay down pillars. The first being the financial institution has to have policy frameworks in place, and these have to speak directly to them offering climate-related credit. So credit policies, operations policies, human policies also, or what we call human resource policies. They must also speak the fact that the financial institution or the SACCO, the bank, is intentional in recruiting staff who have KPIs to deliver on climate related financing. Then the second pillar is about ESG standards and frameworks, or what we call the environment social performance management frameworks. Ideally, banks have to have a rule book in terms of what is fundable, what is not fundable when it comes to investments that support on environmental sustainability. Then the third pillar is dedicated green loan products. The financial institution has to have dedicated green loan products. Those are coming from some of the investments I've named up there. So that's also pillar number 3. Pillar number 4, we talk about staff capacity or skill set. The financial institution or the MFI has to have good mandate in terms of skilling their staff to offer climate finance. Then the 5th one being MRVs, monitoring, reporting, and verification systems. If the financial institution can't monitor and report on their portfolio that lies in climate resilience, ideally what they are doing would just be background noise. So at the end of the day, all that they said they are supporting when it comes to climate finance, they have to be able to show in terms of report. Are ensuring that much as they are putting in place all those that I've talked about up in terms of process flow or pillars, there are ways that they are trying to also see that they embed climate finance in their day-to-day work. The first one being embedding climate risk screening into the credit assessments to evaluate environmental risks alongside financial viability. Banks can use climate smart credit scoring tools. Some of the financial institutions in Uganda here, they are using these tools, the likes of Finca. They have a tool that factors in crop type, irrigation systems, and so on to score the clients before they access the loans. Then also the other one is the access guarantees for portfolios exposed to climate risks. And here I can tell you, for example, ABI Finance gives the financial institutions guarantees on a risk share, majorly to cushion the portfolios that are exposed to climate risk. Then also they can bundle loans with insurance to reduce on default risk. And here they need to partner maybe majorly with weather index insurance providers who protect both banks and borrowers, but at very minimal costs, because some other insurance players are a bit expensive. So financial institutions need to go for those that are not so expensive, and already there are some who are having partnership with these insurance players. Then also financial institutions can offer long tenure or grace periods for majorly climate resilient investments. And this majorly, when you talk about, or when you look at those which are in agribusiness, you really see that they always need this grace period for the venture to give them the profitability. looking at output and also profitability. It needs some sort of grace period. Then also they can bundle loans with technical assistance to improve project viability. E.g., financial institutions can have contracts with these smart climate input service providers, like those providing or selling agri-related inputs, because most of the agri-related inputs these days they are climate resilient, talking about the smart seeds of nowadays. These are climate resilient. So they can, FIs can partner with them, that as they are providing loans to the end smallholder farmer, the input providers are also providing the necessary technical assistance. Yeah, thank you very much. Also, we know that these groups are more susceptible to the negative impacts of climate change than men. They are susceptible to vagaries such as drought, floods, water shortage, etc. So one, we can say there's need to FIs to subsidize on green or climate loans to women, youth, and the marginalized groups like refugees. Then also, financial institutions can set gender inclusive quotas for lending, e.g., at least 30% of green loans or climate loans have to go to women-led agribusinesses. So in this way, if the financial institutions are providing such conditions and they are working towards these conditions, you'll see that at the end of the day, we are implementing climate resilience into the credit that goes to these marginalized groups. Then also, financial institutions can provide financial literacy and technical assistance before lending, majorly to these groups, the youths, women, and those in the rural areas. It's very necessary. Then also use of digital finance platforms, such as mobile banking, to increase access. I find that most of the MFIs are not so much spread in terms of reach. So digital platforms can help them in that angle. Then, of course, also use of SACCOs and CBOs or community-based organizations to reach the rural poor or the marginalized, since these always have a good touch with the marginalized groups compared to the commercial banks. For example, in Uganda here, you said MicroSave has partnered with some institutions in Uganda here. When you check out BRAC, it provides low collateral loans for women to invest in drought-resistant crops. So such initiatives are good. Then also, we have the gender-sensitive product design. This can be tailored to women's financial patterns. Mostly micro-agri loans support adaptation. Most of those micro-agri investments that I listed for you at the beginning, you find that most of them are so much practiced by women. So MFIs need to so much time and again design these gender-sensitive products around those investments. Then also we talk about youth targeted entrepreneurship programs with mentorship. These enhance skill set through capacity building in financial management. Again, we have some financial institutions which have gone ahead to input money in such initiatives. For example, Opportunity Bank has an initiative called Youth Enterprise Challenge Fund. And for this, they train youth in terms of entrepreneurial skills and also staff capital to fund some of their investments, majorly those to agribusiness. And at the end of the day, you find that really numbers of the youths is growing for those who are interested in joining these adaptive investments in a business. SACCOs, cooperatives, and community banks can play in delivering affordable resilience finance at the last mile. Below here, one, they provide last mile finance to rural farmers who are excluded from the commercial banking setup, but that we know for sure. Then also these SACCOs, cooperatives, and the community banks also really have a good understanding of local contexts and also have trust networks in the communities. Hence, having bigger portfolios for these groups. That's also another good role they play. And also, they aggregate demand for climate resilient microloans for bigger MFIs or some of the input suppliers. You find some of these input suppliers, those who are supplying the agri-related inputs like smart seeds and so on. They pass or go through these SACCOs, cooperative and community banks, which is last mile clients. Then also, when you check at most of their offerings, really are flexible when it comes to repayment terms. Their repayment terms are aligned with the seasonal incomes of these last mile players, which is also a good role. The support they need or how they can be supported. One, they need to really be given wholesale funding and guarantees to support them when it comes to risk, because their portfolios are so much exposed to risks of default. So they need wholesale funding for liquidity and guarantees as a risk mitigant. Then also, the other second one is that really we can also, the different players can also offer them business development services or business development services such as strengthening their systems, structures. You find that some of them in terms of management structures, they are not so strong. So they need such support in terms of aligning their structure. Then also the different systems talk about digital and so on, and also even branch expansion, work expansion, since they really reach so much the rural areas. Yeah, and also digital tools to support them in tracking and the risk mapping for some of the credit they offer to these clients. Then also we've talked about the fact that they need capacity building on climate finance and the risks. So we know that climate finance is an emerging area in terms of needing the FIs to really understand it well. Currently, FIs give out these loans that are climate related, but they are not, so they really need the capacity building in that area and also the risks related. That since climate finance is an emerging area, so in terms of the standing policies, so far institutions and institutions, governments, and so on, they are just developing the policies and frameworks, but there are those who are having policies and frameworks just for reference. And I can name for you some. Currently, we don't have standalone that well when it comes to climate adaptation funds or mitigation finance. This will be the ruling policy or framework. Currently, just institutions and the governments are trying to develop that and with different funding from the different players. But still, those policies and frameworks that are cross-cutting. Some of these are the like of the ESG framework, or frameworks for banks, different institutions, or different governments, and in collaboration with bankers associations have developed ESG, environment, social and governance framework, majorly to guide sustainability implementation in the operations of financial institutions. When you check out ESG framework, they majorly talk about or streamline on how the institutions can realign their governance structures to implement climate finance. And also, they also talk about sustainable finance or proceeds guidelines, which investments are really to climate or sustainable finance. Still on the ESG frameworks, they also guide on how to manage different risks related to climate finance in the operations of the MFIs. Then just under ESG, they also talk about reporting and disclosure. How can the financial institution mark, track, report or disclose about their investments, about the investments that are related to climate finance or sustainability. Then also the other policy is the national green finance taxonomy. We find that the different countries, talk of Uganda, Kenya, and others, they have developed the green taxonomy, or green finance taxonomy, to help guide on the different investments that lie under climate resilience across the different sectors, and also categorizing them under those that help in mitigation and those that help in adaptation. Also, the third one I can talk about the national climate finance strategies. Again, also different countries have designed national climate finance strategies. These are guiding on how climate finance can be implemented in financial institutions in terms of process flow, looking at the strategy, realignment of the financial institution, again, the structure need, if any financial institution is to deliver on climate finance, and then also on the systems needed, again, for the financial institution to deliver climate finance, skill set in terms of the skills needed by the staff to advance climate finance.